Hey everyone, it's your buddy Graphic back with another video, and today we're going to show you guys one of the strongest builds in New World. If you guys have been watching for a while, you know I don't usually play the Great Axe and Hatchet, but like I said, this is one of the strongest combos in the game. I'm going to talk to you guys about why this is, what kind of gear I go, what kind of really build I go completely when it comes to gems, when it comes to, abilities. We're going to go over all of it. So if you guys want to learn a little bit more about this build, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn notifications on. Let's jump straight into it. Alright guys, like I said, we're back with a build, one of the strongest in the game, easily for open world PvP. That's going to be the Great Axe Hatchet. You guys already know that though. I want to show you guys why this build is so strong, covering all of the abilities to all of the different attributes you should be focusing on when using this combo all together. So really, if we jump into the attributes, the first thing I'm going to notice is, getting yourself to 300 strength is a very, very important thing to do because of a couple different things. At 50, you're going to get 5% damage to melee weapon light attacks. Not a huge deal. Usually you're using your heavy attacks with the Great Axe, but with the Hatchet, you are typically going to use light attacks. We also have the 10% damage to melee weapon heavy attacks. This is going to be very, very strong as well because this is going to give you 10% more damage to, obviously, like I said, melee weapon heavy attacks, which is going to be the primary thing you're going to be doing with the Great Axe. Next, we have 50% stamina damage from melee weapons, light and heavy attacks. So this is going to be another very, very strong, really giving you insane damage, with your melee weapon, light and heavy attacks. I want to jump though to 200 because at 200 you're going to do 10% damage on stunned, slowed, and rooted enemies. Another great one to grab because you are going to have the Great Axe and you're going to be applying that grab wheel, which is obviously going to be more of a root, kind of a slow situation there, going to provide more damage. We also have stamina regen is faster while performing light and heavy attacks with a melee weapon. And then last but not least, the most important, light and heavy attacks with a melee weapon gain grit. So the grit, it basically means you cannot be stopped. When you're in mid swing here, you'll see it. I actually turn. You can see that if we zoom in. I kind of, I get highlighted. My character kind of highlights up with a little bit of white. That just means I'm, doing a grit attack. And it's not just on the Great Axe. It's also going to be on the Hatchet, like I said. But I want to jump back over to the, let's see here. Let's go back to the weapon mastery. So, or actually the attributes, because, you're going to have strength. That's going to be the most important part of this, as Great Axe and Hatchet both scale with strength more than anything else. But the next thing we're going to focus on is Constitution, because you're going to want more than 67 Constitution. When you get to 300 Strength, I do suggest getting at least to 250 Constitution if possible. If you're not quite there yet, continue to build that up. The big one starts at 100 when you can actually get increased max health by 10% of your physical armor, and then 150, another big one, minus 10% crit damage taken, and it continues to get stronger and stronger, obviously, as you get higher and higher in Constitution. So just get as much as you possibly can. 300 Strength, 67 Constitution, going to be a big deal for you. I do want to jump, though, into the actual weapon mastery. So let's jump into Great Axe first and explain what's going to be so strong about this build when it comes to open world. Like I said, you're going to be able to chase anybody down. The main reason this build is so strong is because you have Berserk. See how fast I am right now with Berserk? It may not look insanely fast, but you're going to be able to see as soon as it stops here in 5 seconds how much it slows down. And you're going to be able to see this, obviously, a big difference when you're out there running and trying to chase people down. We also have the charge, right? And that's going to be one of the biggest reasons as to why you're going to be fast as well. That charge is a very, very long distance. And then all you have to do is throw this gravity well out, which is, by the way, a fairly large range. And it'll slow them down at the very least if they don't get caught in there. And you can pull them back to you with your Reap. And that's going to be a very, very strong combo, obviously, with a lot of damage coming from not just your Feral Rush, but you can also try Raging Torrent. Like I said, I want to cover kind of the abilities there and kind of jump into the passives as well. So this is going to be the Great Axe tree. We're going to pretty much take everything on the charge side to make sure we have the biggest momentum there with charge as we possibly can. Then you're going to want to take Reap. Like I said, that's the pull in, so you can actually pull them closer to you if they don't have a jump or, sorry, a dash. And, they can actually dash through this Reap. So it's, something you're going to want to use when they have no dashes left, if you can keep track of that. The biggest and strongest part of this build is going to be the last two things, though. Obviously, passives, you're going to want to read these as you select them if you want to look through them all. But the biggest thing is going to be Bloodlust. So when you move 30% faster and deal 15% more damage when you're just looking at a foe within 15 meters. You can understand how strong that really is. 30% faster, 15% more damage. All you have to do is just look at a foe within 15 meters. 15 meters, by the way, is a fairly large distance, and you can we can check that out on the map here in a second. But the other thing you're going to take a look at is gravity well. So throw an axe, create a vortex that pulls foes closer to its center for 3 seconds, and we'll take the crowded well, which basically just increase the burst damage by 10% for each foe caught in the vortex. So if you're trying to 1v2, 1v3, it's going to be very, very helpful. We are going to kind of ditch the unyielding just because this is going to be more of an allies gaining fortify. You're not going to really throw this at your allies per se, and most of the time, like I said, this is going to be a 1v1 build, or not even just a 1v1 build, but a 1vx build, to where you're trying to, just outplay by yourself. We're going to jump, though, into the Hatchet abilities next, because the Hatchet abilities are also going to be very, very special when it comes to this build. It's not going to be all about the Great Axe. It's going to be about the duo, the combo, and the most important ability, you guys should know it by now, Berserk. Berserk is actually going to be easily one of the strongest abilities in the game right now. It's going to speed you up insanely, insanely quickly. And with this, you're going to have an insane, like I said, 12 seconds burst of speed, and you'll also increase your attack damage by 20% when active. So next, we're going to have the Feral Rush. This is going to be a sprinting melee attack that causes the player to leap forward, hitting twice. There's going to be a ton of damage on your first hit and your second hit, so to make sure to hit both of those. The next one's going to be very, very kind of limited, as these two are your main really reasons to be playing Hatchet, is Feral Rush and Berserk. I did take Raging Torrent just in case you get them maybe stuck in your grav well and you want to attempt the Raging Torrent. It does insane damage, however, you have to realize it's very, very hard to hit on a PvP enemy. I'm going to show you, like I said, Raging Torrent. This is Raging Torrent, and it's, like I said, a very hard ability to hit all 4 attacks, but if you do, they will feel it. It's a very, very strong damage there that comes out. I do want to jump into now the armor. So the big thing I will always tell you guys is I prefer medium armor. When you're trying to outplay, when you're trying to continue to have fun, medium armor is going to be one that keeps you alive against muskets, rapiers, and really, bows and anything ranged. I said rapier specifically because typically you'll see a rapier user with those ranged, those ranged weapons like the ice gauntlet, the fire staff, the bow, the musket as well. If you're wanting to just continue to gain more momentum, more speed in like 1v1s against maybe a bow player, or just 1v1s in general open world, and you want to be the fastest you possibly can, because that's all what this build is about, going light is not a bad option. So you can take off some of this and change it to a light build, but like I said, this is going to be the max medium, which is going to be heavy head, heavy chest, medium gloves, light legs, and then medium foot. If you want to go into, like I said, a more of a light build, you can actually get to the highest light with, I believe it's light everything, and then a heavy, or actually I think it's a medium chest is going to get you that maximum lightweight. And that's if you want to roll. Obviously, like I said, right now, we can use 3 jumps until we are out of stamina. With light, you only get 2 jumps, but it's actually going to be more of a roll. And we've showed you guys that before, but I might as well show you guys again. So this is what you'll get instead of the typical 3 jumps. I do want to jump, though, into Carnelians, because Carnelians are only for PvE, and I don't think everyone understands that. There is no reason to put a Carnelian gem into your sockets when it comes to your weapons here. What I would typically go is the Malachite when it comes down to the Great Axe, because you're going to be all about doing damage to those players, and I'm not going to put it in right now just because I want to use this for future builds, but you're going to want to put that Malachite in your Great Axe for increased 12% damage against targets with an active crowd control status effect, which is always going to be your Great Axe. Your Great Axe is going to do so much damage with that. Hatchet, I wouldn't actually apply the Malachite. With Hatchet, I would go Opal. You're always going to be low on stamina because you're going to continue to be running, chasing, and using your stamina. You're going to have increased 15% while your stamina is not full. You could also go a different route with that. You can go Emerald as well. Emerald is Opportunist, so 20% damage against targets with less than 30% health, because you're going to bring your Hatchet out most likely if it's coming down to the wire. And another thing I didn't really notice, or mention I should say, is the Undying ultimate. So we talked about Great Axe's ultimate, how it gives you more chase and more damage. The Undying Defy Death ultimate is unbelievably strong. Avoid death reduced to 50 HP in game immortality for 3 seconds, only a 75-second cooldown. Make sure to take advantage of this. Understand that you should switch over to your Hatchet if you're about to die, because you'll get that 3-second invulnerability. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, comments, let me know in the comment section down below. I really do appreciate you guys stopping by. Like I said, this is one of the most fun builds out there. I've tested it quite a bit in these test servers that you're seeing now, but I haven't actually had the chance to get my Great Axe to level 20 and my Hatch to level 20, or trust me, I would be playing it in the real deal right now. So I want to test all these builds out. This is definitely going to be, like I said, one of the strongest when it comes to solo PvP in the open world, in New World altogether. Like I said, one of the strongest builds. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on. I'll see you guys all in the next one.